good afternoon, channel members, followers, and friends. Yeah, I went that way just for Bastion. Thanks for providing the meta as well, Bastion in Alicante. As we can see, winds light and variable. Great visibility as well. QNH 1014. You've done my homework for me. Thank you very much. Welcome to this afternoon stream. We are, of course, in Alicante, and we're heading across to Nice on the south of France, an airport very popular since Microsoft Flight Simulator came out. In particular, the Sim update, World Update number 4, I think it was, that updated that region. But yeah, looking forward to this. Flight time is about 1 hour and 15 minutes. We do have a slight time constraint today, in that I do have to pick my child up from school in around about 2 hours' time. Flight time is about 1 hour 13 minutes, so we are going to get cracking. Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, Simon. Hello, Lewis Aviation as well, and good to see everybody getting on board. We're gonna get started. We're gonna get loaded up, and we're gonna start getting those passengers on board. We need to also refuel. Let me give you guys the operational flight plan for today. So if you're watching on YouTube, that is coming just now. So operational flight plan is now becoming pinned to the chat. You should have that there for anyone that wants to download that. Right, let's get on board. So as you can see, not the first flight of the day. Aircraft is indeed in a turnaround state. Buenos dias, HD. Hey, you've got the right language for the right country. That's unusual. So everything is, as I say, set up in a turnaround state. Now, the OFP that I've already provided in the chat, you can see, been going through that just whilst we've been setting up. 1 hour 60 minutes our estimated flight time today. So I am going to load, you can work this out yourself, but we're going to take half a ton extra. Weather in Nice is fine, but there's the potential of a slight rain shower or anything daft like that. So we want to be on the ball. 6.1 tons of fuel. Let's get that sorted. And we are actually refueling because I remembered to empty the center tank of the aircraft. So refueling is underway. I want to start getting those passengers on board. As I say, there is a slight time constraint today, as I need to be on the ground for around 1400 Zulu would be good. So we'll just start the APU so we can get those passengers boarding. That current QNH then, Bastion, you provided me with that. Is that 1014? Let's see if that's been updated here. 1014, indeed. It has. Now, one other thing to check. We're actually, runway in use here is runway 10. Check out that wind, so a slight crosswind from the right. Runway 10 still in use, though. I'm also just going to check. We are on VATSIM, but there is no air traffic control. So I'm just going to go over some of the checks. The overhead panel looks fine whilst we refuel. Center console, again, that was fine. I don't know what turns that to on. That's not on when I first start, but all that's fine. Let me just set that to 2000 as well. There we go. But we're on Unicom and the guard frequency. Switching panel, thrust levers, engine selector, flight deck door is currently open. Parking brake is set, flaps retracted, spoilers, etc, etc. Okay, up to the FCU. I know our initial climb out is going to be 6,000 feet. We'll go over that shortly. Flight directors 1 and 2 now on, and the instrument panel, of course, is all fine. We'll just hit the recall button, make sure we've not got anything on there. That's okay. APU is available as well. So now APU bleed can come on. I will start getting those passengers on nice and early. So, passengers are boarding. Let's just check what we got. 165 passengers. Payload 17160. That's correct. Zero fuel weight of 58.2. Again, correct. So let's get that loaded. There we go. 63.5 tons whilst we're refueling. Okay, good. IRS is nav, 3 nav greens. Okay, LEAP engines, valid Airac cycle, and let's start setting up that box. Oh, I've still got the stream message up. Thanks, Brian, for pulling me up on that. Let me clear that out of the way. There we go. Right, so our alternate today is Marseille, Lima, Fox, Mike, Lima. Our call sign is Easyjet Europe, so Alpine 34 Alpha Mike. Oh, hang on. What's gone off there? There we go. Had a little moment there, didn't it? Easyjet Europe 34 Alpha Mike. Cost index fate, flight level 380 minus 52, and the tropo is about 44,500 feet. Pop that in. The flight plan. Departing runway 10 on the Mythos 3 Alpha departure. Oops, missed it. Mythos 3 Alpha. Insert. And then HD. I don't know if you saw my my message regarding the RNAV arrival. Yeah, so we're going to do the RNP Zulu, which, even though runway 4 left does have an ILS, I think for noise pollution reasons, the French prefer the RNAV. So let's go and pop that in. We'll bring the charts up as well in a minute. So that's going to be the RNAV 04 left Zulu, using the Ablic 7 Romeo. Abla 7 Romeo. Two very similar ones there. Make sure we get the correct one. Which brings us in, I think, is it via MUS or is it Lempu? It has to be MUS. Or Lempu is the initial fix for the RNAV. So here's the RNAV approach. And it comes in via MUS NDB. So let's pop that in and insert. That gives us a distance of 524, and I've got 542 on the flight plan. So we'll go through and check all that in a second. Just scroll through, check that there's no discontinuities just there. Ooh, manual. We've not seen that before. So let me just clear that discontinuity out. Oh, we can't clear that one because it's manual. So hang on, let me just go up to the navigation page and scroll through that. So that departure looks fine. And then we get radar vectors to Lempu. We can just go direct as well, of course, if we're safely above any terrain, and if ATC isn't online. So yeah, that's good. And there's our RNAV approach. Okay, so happy with that. What are we going to pop in the RadNav box then on the departure? There is the VOR here in Alicante. ALT, which is 113.8. and then our 0 fuel weight, centre of gravity, pop that in. Trip wind, a tailwind of 55, that'll make sure I'm not late for the school run. So that is a tailwind of 55, fuel planning 4.3, and we're taking we've got just under 6.1. So 6.0, takeoff weight will be 64, and then HD, is it the Alpha? RMP Alpha. I'll go back and amend that in 1 second. What am I looking at? The alternate fuel, 1.5 tons. RNAV 04 left Alpha. Of course, I was choosing Zulu because we normally do for ILSs, don't we? There we go. It's still going to be the Abla 7 Romeo arrival. Which is it still MUS? Seven left, RMP Alpha. That's the RMP Alpha, 04 left and right, which brings us in via Bisbo. Is Bisbo a possibility on there? Oh, no. Radar vectors after MUS, and then let's now just check, does that bring us into Bisbo? There we go. Okay, so then let's shut that down for a second. RadNav page is sorted, init B page is sorted, onto the performance page. Transition altitude here is 6,000 feet, and thrust reduction acceleration is 1142.
Kilo Tango 6 mile final, runway 10, Alicante traffic.
Nice to hear another Easyjet coming into land here. Flaps 1, V speeds, all done. Okay, so let's talk about our departure. So we are parked at stand, where are we? We're at stand 81. Oh, hang on, HD's coming through with some info. Flex 69. Let's not try and pop it in the flap setting. There we go. 134, 134, 137. 134. We'll have a mismatch in a minute. Yeah, 134 and 137. There we go. Okay, right, so straightforward taxi out. We're at stand 81. We're going to push back. We have to face west. Face west, we taxi all the way down and then onto Alpha. From Alpha, then we go and we'll hold at Alpha 4. On takeoff, nice straightforward takeoff, and a left turn at around 2.8 DME from the Altet VOR. Autopilot will be on by that point. And then straight out, initial climb out is to 6,000 feet. After that, then by Mytos, we need to be above flight level 100, but we'll make sure that happens. We don't need ATC to assist us with that. They're not online anyway. So that's how we'll do the taxi back. Let's just chat about the weather and the aircraft, etc. So we do have a passing rain shower whilst I was setting up. I don't know if that's stopped now. Quick look outside says the weather here appears to be okay. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, weather's fine. Visibility is no issue at all, although, to be fair, that looks a little bit ominous, doesn't it, over there? That's where we're heading into as well. But if we do have any problems, we can come back here. No problem at all. We have the experimental version of the A321NX from FlyByWire. That's the aircraft that we're flying. Sadly, we have an in-op systems. The terrain radar, the TCAS, and the weather radar are all in-op. Now, with TCAS being in-op, we just need to make sure that we're within 1,000 feet of our target altitude, that we're not climbing or descending at more than a rate of 1,500 feet per minute. I think that's right. HD will correct me on that if I'm wrong. No NOTAMs here that we need to be aware of. Threats to be aware of: there is terrain to the north and the west of us, so that's a big threat here. If we do have to come back in to land, we will be coming back in from the south though, so that terrain shouldn't be too much of an issue. Minimum safe altitude, as we can see from the chart, is 3,000 feet in the sector we're going. So let's chat about an emergency brief. So no air traffic control online, but if we do have a problem, obviously we'll stop the aircraft and we'll report that on Unicom, just so any of the aircraft around know what it is that we're doing. On departure, it's going to be my takeoff, obviously. Problems or warnings before 100 knots we'll consider stopping, but after 100 knots and up to V1 then we'll only stop for any uninhibited ECAM warnings, cautions, engine fire or failure, and that's with or without thrust loss. Or of course we think the aircraft is just not safe to fly. If that's the case, we'll make the decision to stop. I will call out stop, we'll go max reverse, keep the aircraft nice and straight on the runway, and I can also use manual braking as well if auto brake isn't stopping the aircraft as well as I think it should. If we've had a fire warning, I'll also attempt to point the aircraft into the wind, which at the moment is coming from the south, so it'll be engine number 2 that's critical. Once we come to a stop, we need to stow the reversers, set the parking brakes, and announce cabin crew, attention all stations. We can then pause, take a deep breath, and just confirm the failures and run any ECAM checks that we've got. Once we've established the cause of the failure, we can either complete the ECAM drills and we'll vacate the runway, or if it's more serious and we had a fire indication, we can then consider running the evacuation checklist. Once again, I'll say we always stop and pause before doing that, because if we do have to run the evacuation checklist, sadly passengers will get hurt. Those slides are a last resort. Failure after V1, of course, we're committed. We'll get the aircraft into the air. If it's an engine failure, fly using the standard technique of 12.5 degree pitch initially, and then we'll follow SRS using the rudder to counteract the yaw. Once the aircraft has got a positive rate of climb, we'll get that gear up and we'll trim out the yaw, and once that's trimmed, we'll engage the autopilot. We can also at that point then select toga if we need it. We'll also pull the heading bug, so we don't continue to follow the SID. We'll carry on nice and straight, and then once we're above 400 feet we can confirm the failure, run any ECAM drill. Once the engine is secured and we're above the single engine acceleration altitude, we'll push the level off, accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule, and then once we are green dot, we'll go open climb and set the maximum continuous thrust. It's a standard engine out procedure here, so at 1,700 feet we make a right turn to the Magal holding point. Holding entry is 305 and it's right turns, and that waypoint is over here to the southeast of the airfield. In fact, oh, hang on, we'll just find that for us. Where's it gone? So we know where that is. There it is. So there's our holding point, which, as I say, if we can then come back in and around, steering clear of terrain to come back into land if we need to. Once we've got to that holding point, then of course we can enter the hole and decide what we're going to do: continue return or divert. Okay, that's the emergency brief complete. Everybody happy, I hope. All the passengers are now on board, so I think we can close those doors, get rid of the jetway, and start getting ready to leave.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our Easyjet service. Please place your large bags into the overhead locker, wheels first, and keep your small items under the seat in front of you. These include laptops, handbags, duty-free and loose items of clothing. Once you have safely stowed your cabin bag, please take your seat. To help us ensure a prompt departure, we would kindly ask that you keep the aisle clear, enabling all remaining customers to board. Your seatbelt can now be fastened ready for departure. This is a no smoking service. Thank you for observing this policy.
Thank you.
Okay, last final checks, then we shall run the before start checklist. APU is running. We can get rid of the external power and just have a quick look outside, make sure he's moving out of the way. There he goes. Okay, so let's run the before start checklist. Just checking that fuel's all balanced, which it is. Okay, so cockpit preparation is completed. Signs are on and auto. Adheres 3 nav green. Fuel quantity 6060 kilograms and balanced. FMGS is set and altimeter is 1014. So we'll get our pushback clearance and we'll just call the toolbar pushback with its fancy voices.
Cabin crew, please arm doors and cross check.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck this morning, let me welcome you on board this Easyjet aircraft as you settle in for what we hope is going to be a most enjoyable flight. The weather today doesn't look to be posing much of a problem, so we should have a nice smooth ride for you throughout the duration of the flight. And as the cabin crew continue making their last preparations, if you could please assist them by getting yourselves sat down, your seatbelts fastened, and make yourselves nice and comfortable. The ground crew have now finished loading the aircraft, and we're just about finished with all our pre-flight checks, so it won't be long until we are
Okay, sir. The
Would you
bypass
please
gate
give
is
the cabin
installed.
crew
All doors and hatches closed and all ground
as they go
equipment
through
is
the
removed.
safety briefing? We'd very
The
much
parking
appreciate
brakes are
it.
set. You may lift.
So on behalf of myself and the
Parking
first
brakes
officer,
set. Lifting
we'd
the
like to
aircraft.
say thank you for choosing Easyjet today, and we look forward to giving you a safe flight.
Standing by for pushback.
Alicante traffic, Alpine 34 Alpha Max, stand 81, pushing back facing west.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brakes set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Before start, check below the line. Windows and doors are closed. Rotating beacon light is on. Mobile phone is on silent. Parking brake is on, and we're now going to release the parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
And we
You
can
will
start those
in
engines.
sequence.
Joseph, thank you very much for your very kind £2 donation there. Nice you're flying the Easyjet later all around Europe and back to Stansted. Hope you've got the free Stansted CD. It is excellent. Okay, engine mode selector to start and starting engine 1. Oh, HD, we got the checks in. A little late for you though, yeah?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Fair enough.
while we take you through the safety procedures on this aircraft. A safety card is in your seat pocket showing the exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets and brace position that you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear, 4 in the middle, and 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply
Starting
fails,
engine 2.
masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen.
Okay, pushback completed.
Put the mask
Please set
over your
parking
nose
brake.
and mouth.
Parking brake
Hold
set.
in place with the strap.
Parking brake set.
Pull on
Lowering
each
aircraft.
side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others.
Ground. Startup
If
is
you land on
complete. You
water,
may
take
disconnect.
the life jacket from under your
Roger.
seat.
Good engine
Put it
start.
over
Cleared
your
to
head.
disconnect. See
Pass
you
the
at the
tapes
side.
around
Have
your
a good
waist.
flight.
Flick
Holding
together
position, waiting for the visual.
and
Thank you
pull
and
the strap
goodbye.
to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the
HD, I think they say you're clear to start engines or something like that. I don't think they say engines clear. They do that on the pushback as well.
light and whistle for a
Literally almost as they're pushing you out off the stand.
flotation aids for children.
So I'm just waiting for engine number 2 to
Now be stowed,
spool up.
press down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with Easyjet.
30 degrees outside today. Okay, engine number 2's now stabilised, so selector to norm, the after start flows. Anti-ice not required. Spoilers, rudder, flaps. And that CFG is 27.6, so actually doesn't need moving, if at all, to be fair. After start, checklist, anti-ice not required. Ecam status is checked. Pitch trim is 27.6, and rudder trim is set 0. We'll do the flight control check while we're here. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral, rudder, full right, rudder, full left, neutral. Pushback is clear. We'll announce the taxi then on Unicom. Alicante traffic, Alpine 34 Alpha Mike taxi now via Alpha to holding point Alpha 4, runway 10. Nice straight taxi out so we can continue getting the aircraft ready for takeoff. Danny, yeah, lots of follow me vehicles at this airport. Sadly, they're not implemented though yet, are they? Never mind. So we're following this down, and if you do have the charts to hand, you'll be able to see exactly where we are, because this scenery gives full parking stands, which is really nice. So you can see we're just passing Echo 7. Okay, so let's do the PEDS check. So no change to the performance. QNH still 1014. Engine out procedure is standard. It's a right-hand turn at 1,700 feet to the Magal holding point. Departure matches what we have in the FMGC, and stop altitude is 6,000. 6,000 feet. And we're currently on Alpha. I've got a left turn coming up in a moment. Megs, goodness me! Just a small tip from an Alicante native. Loving the new scenery. Good to finally see decent freeware scenery for Alicante. Megs, that is unbelievably generous of you. Thank you so much for your support, Migs, and I'm really glad you like the scenery. Hope you'll be with us throughout the flight. Short flight today, 1 hour 13. And also make sure, Migs, I don't know, are you on our Discord server? I hope you are. And if so, do drop me a message. But that is incredibly generous, Migs. Thank you so much for that. So this is where the follow me vehicle would usually abandon you, I think.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
So let's run the before takeoff checklist to the line. So flight controls have been checked. Departure briefing confirmed. Flap setting config 1 is set. FMA and takeoff data 134 blue, 137 magenta, climb nav blue, 1 FD2, 6000 blue and toga. Will not take the rapid exit taxiway to line up on today. The follow me vehicles are always on a siesta. Transponder is set, ECAM memo, takeoff, no blue. I'm going to answer your question here, HD. We're getting there. I'm going to clear that now. It's well over 3 minutes. Oh, Mick, you definitely need to get on our Discord server. Great community on there. 69 flex, not toga. That's a bad habit we've got into, isn't it? So just checking we're taking Alpha 4. There's 3 different exits we can take just here. Max wingspan of 36 meters. I think we qualify. That sky looks great, doesn't it? Not for flying, but it looks great. So we'll just hold short here at Alpha 4, runway 10, we'll get the lights on. Can hear that thunder rumbling away as well. Wheel temperatures, or rather brake temperatures, they're fine. Okay, so let's get those lights on. Packs are off. Yeah, HD, must admit, I thought we were below 36, but couldn't recall how far below it. As it turns out, not much. Air Trooper 37, good afternoon. We're just about to leave you. Alicante traffic, Easy 34 Alpha Mike departing now, runway 10. Cabin secured for takeoff. Engine mode selector to normal. TCAS, TARA, and packs are off. I'm just going to do a check. Yeah, I have put the TCAS on. I thought I had. Anti-ice, not required. Not yet. Will be surely after takeoff. Air Trooper 37, am I still here? I stopped at yours last night, don't you remember? You were a fantastic host. I'm not sure about the gorgeous weather, Air Trooper. It's thundering in the sim. Okay, we are good to go. So let's go if we're all ready. So take off. Start the chrono. 50% N1. And set takeoff thrust. Man flex, SRS, runway. Few flashes of lightning.
100 now.
V1, rotate.
Positive ring for gear up.
And set climb thrust. Thrust climb. Climb. Autopilot 1 engaged. I'm not too convinced that that is an accurate line, to be honest with you. Flaps 0, spoilers disarmed, and packs 2. No ATC available. I'm just double checking that. No. So let's set a flight level of 100. Open climb and flight level 100 blue. Goodness me, that was close. Might just keep the cabin crew strapped into their seats for a few more minutes until we've left this weather behind us. And just passing 5,000 feet. And we'll get that de-ice on in a minute or two. So we're now inbound to Sumo, which is fine. We wanted to be above 5,000 feet for that, so that's okay. Speed Alt Star. Let's continue our climb above flight level 100, shall we now? Let's set a flight level 200. Oh, thrust climb, open climb, 200 blue.
Keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes.
Yeah, not the nicest departure straight out of there. Normally they're coded in really nicely, but that was a strange one. I'm going to release the cabin crew so they're free. And if our flight plan goes to schedule with the times we've got, we should be on the ground at around 1400 hours Zulu time, which is perfect for the school run. So no missed approaches, please, when we get to Nice. Okay, that seems to be tidying itself up now. So we'll clear that out. Flight level 380 is fine. Let's go ahead with that. Flight level 380 is set. 380 blue. And we're above flight level 100 by Mytos, which is what was required. Migs, that sounds fantastic. Born in Alicante, but mostly grew up here in the UK. Lived in the UK for 30 years, but now you find yourself married and on the west coast of Canada. The west coast of Canada. Nice. That's the Atlantic, isn't it? For those of you older viewers of the channel. Right, let's get that ice on as we look to go through some rough weather. Jack, you've just taken off behind me and you felt the turbulence I've created. Shaky, hope I've recovered from the cold. Just back from Spain and flew with Easyjet. Oh, do you mean in the real world? Yeah? Flew from Malaga to Liverpool and used the SimBrief flight plan to follow the flight. Oh, I hope it was close by. I think I'd have been knocking on the flight deck door prior to taking off, saying, "Can I just look at the OFP? Let me check out the Sigmet. I want to know what departure we're flying." That looks great down there, doesn't it? It's the Atlantic if you squint, Mix, yeah. Never going to be forgiven for that mess. A good few months ago now. Hilo, sadly the weather radar is not working in the experimental version, but it does work in the developer build and the stable build. Yeah, Air Trooper 37, you've told me that the summers in Alicante. What were the temperatures the other day? You say it was like it's been 37 plus every time I've spoken to you on here. I couldn't cope with that. I mean, 40 degrees. That's ridiculous. Right, it looks like the turbulence isn't going to hit us. I'm just feeling a few bumps just here. We'll just see how we get through this, then I'll turn off the seatbelt signs. I can feel that now though. Hopefully with this angle you can see it as well. Strangely enough, there's nothing on the Sigmet chart for our flight today. Zelox YT, on-nav approach still not working. It is, it's just the final approach that's not working. So we're going to do an on-nav approach today. So if you want to stick with us, you'll see how that works. Mix, it's been disgustingly hot out there according to your family. I like that. That's a great phrase. Disgustingly hot. Nick Burrows, good afternoon, Nick. Nick, now you're on like a sabbatical from work. Have you just woken up? It's nearly 2 PM in the afternoon where we are. Migs, I was going to ask you about that, chatting about hot weather. There was a major heat wave throughout Canada, wasn't there? Absolutely unbelievable. Air Trooper 37, the worst was 46 degrees for a few days, but you've got the pool to chill off. Yeah, so when I'm ready, we'll get the mankini out. Might not bother with that. This high layer of cloud that we're going to go through at the moment. What's the SAT like? Only minus 23, so we'll keep those anti-ices on. Tommy, do I know why mods from your community folder aren't showing in the game? I've heard some people sometimes having 2 community folders. It never happened to me. But might be worth checking that out. David, you've lost all your waypoints on the FMC. FMC or NC? Do you mean your flight management computer, your actual computer? Right, if that happens, sadly that's a bug with the simulator itself. That's why I like to fly the experimental version. It doesn't happen on the experimental version. It's much more accurate. Air Trooper 37, that's not an image anyone wants to think of. Particularly my wife. Okay, I think turbulence has calmed down a bit and the passengers are probably needing a wee, so let's get that seatbelt sign off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign has now been turned on. You are now free to move around the cabin and the toilets are now available. However, when in your seat, we recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence. Please contact a member of the cabin crew if you require assistance. Thank you.
So this high level cloud that we're about to go through is really going to tank the frame rates. Does everybody else suffer with this, or is it just people like me on a medium spec PC? I can be at Gatwick, which is with that scenery, which is really heavy on frame rates, but no problem at all. Nice and smooth. I can have you know, lots and lots of cloud, lots of CBs knocking around, no problem at all. But the moment I get this thin veil of high pressure cloud coming in, then it just really affects the frame rates, something chronic. Nick, I know you said, yeah, you've had some problems with it in the past. Alex 5150, you've got same issues. I don't understand what it is, because it's just a thin veil of cloud. It's not even like it's trying to create an image of a towering cumulus or anything daft like that. Vaughn McLean, good afternoon. Hope you're okay. Air Trooper, you have frame rate problems at Gatwick. See, that doesn't surprise me at all, because Gatwick is very intense. Thankfully, I'm okay there. HD, I think we discovered the other day you don't like cloud names. It's just thin fluffy, big fluffy, large fluffy, and don't go near fluffy. And Nick, you have to focus on somewhere in the aircraft without an outside view. Yeah, so let me just show you this. I'm panning around. You can probably see that that's like... You can see it's not smooth in the slightest. But now if we come down here, now look at this. Yeah? Loads better. So it's just the cloud. Ah, flight level 300. Doing okay. Migs, I completely misread that to begin with. Aerosol rendering. Got ya. That wasn't the word I read. Spiral fluffy. Yeah, that's tornado. We don't get too many of those. here. Well, actually, I may be lying there. I'm sure, and I don't know if this was a made-up statistic that you see banded around on Facebook and things. I certainly didn't fact check it. But isn't the UK, per sort of like square mileage of the country, have the most tornadoes in the world? As I say, that could just be complete poppycock and rubbish, but God, I thought it had crashed then with that lightning flash. HC, can I open the flight deck door? You can, but not physically. So I can open the flight deck door. Hang on one sec. Yeah, I can open the door. So now that's open. It doesn't open physically, but it means that all the cabin sounds, the bing bongs, are much louder. And I can also check that my cup of tea's coming when I order one. Yeah, there you go. Has anyone actually seen that move? Like the occasional cabin crew. How cool would that be? Just sat there seeing, and then occasionally a little flash of a cabin crew would come in and potter about. Not sure at what level these clouds are going to tank out. Oh, we may just be reaching the top of them. So that's so nice. That's okay. So Von, you're at work today, are you? Hope all's going well for you. HD, no, I don't think you can click on the door itself and like open it up. Click on the door itself, that sounds like an old PC game, doesn't it? You know, you used to have to click on things and find things and things. I'm reminded of a great game from my youth now called Leisure Suite Larry, for those of you in the know. Just leave that de-ice on for now. Mike, it might be rendering the thin cloud as particles. That would make it slow down. That's true, Mike. Yes, it would, because if it's rendering each individual one rather than a specific image. Welcome to London, the tornado capital of the world. I don't think it needs any other taglines to keep people away at the minute. So Stephen, son, yeah, that's it. There are about 200 tornadoes a year in the UK, but we don't get big ones. So they're more like little whirlwinds. I've forgotten the technical name for them now. It's locked in my memory somewhere. Sat is oh yeah, it's minus 48. I thought it was 50 HD. Is it 40? I thought it was 50 had to be beneath. I'll wait for you to come back on that for me. Brian, you used to play that game. Yeah, I only had one of them. I forget which one it was. I never got to the end though. Did he ever reach his goal, so to speak? It is minus 40. Oh, okay. Don't know why I've got it at minus 50 in my head. Another one of those moments. Air Trooper, you'd love to see A320 if you could go through the back and see all be seated with passengers. I like the idea of it, but then I think I'd rather have the frame rates up here in the flight deck rather than the GPU trying to render all that lot behind me. Yeah, that's HD. I knew it was plus 10 to minus 40. Sorry, I knew it was plus 10, but for some reason I thought it was minus 50. And isn't it sat, not tat? I'll let you double check that for me. Nick, are you on Wikipedia at the minute, or are you a UK tornado expert? Oh, about 1,000 feet to go, and then we'll be on our cruise. Now we're above that thin veil, its frame rates have come back a little bit. Brian, he does reach his goal, does he? Excellent. As a 15-year-old, I was always curious. Treat Rowan, your A320 has decided to go full throttle and climb. Does it say toggle lock by any chance? Up here where thrust climb's showing on mine. Oh, sorry, HD. Yeah, I know what you mean. So, yeah, plus 10 TAT, which should be the same as SAT when you're on the ground, to minus 40 SAT. Yeah. Mac Alt Star. Cruising altitude. Reach. Alt Cruise. There we go. So we should be on the ground in around 55 minutes. Let's hope so, otherwise the boy's going to be stood outside school.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, just to let you know, we've reached our cruising altitude for today, and we are not anticipating any major delays or bad weather ahead, so we should be arriving on time as planned. The cabin crew will now start to make their way around the aircraft, so please make sure that the aisles are clear of any items you may have, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. A reminder that our Easyjetsimpilot members are able to take advantage of free drinks throughout the duration of the flight. Thank you, and we shall have an update for you shortly.
So we departed with 6.1 ton of fuel. That adds up. We're good. I think it was just under 6.1 actually. HD very badly. Okay. I should have pulled VS and slowed that down. Have you ever dispatched with a non-operational TCAS by in your real-world experience? Right, Lotus, 22 minutes in. What should we see on the fuel? Lotus, 22 minutes, that's fine. We should see around 4.4, I think. What we've got, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah, 4.4. Let's have a look. Ooh, that's burnt more than I expected. So what have we got now? We've got 3, 4. We took off with 0.7 tons of fuel extra, including the contingency. We've now got about 0.4, 0.45. About 450 kilogram. So, burnt a bit more than expected throughout that climb, but we're okay. Speaking of our flight plan and the current altitudes we're at, for someone who was just asking in the chat there, we do have an altitude change a little bit later on at Barcelona. We need to go down to flight level 340 according to the flight plan. That's what our fuel's been worked out at anyway. Oh yeah, the anti-ice would account for that, wouldn't it? DC Gert, hello. Yeah, we've got Rex Airport textures installed on this sim, so anything you're seeing there is Rex textures. Steve, the fuel flow is actually really nicely spot on as long as you use a performance factor of +8 if you're using SimBrief. There are loads of times when I'm looking at the flight plan, looking over here saying, right, okay, so we should expect to see blah blah blah, and then I scroll across here and that's exactly what I see. That's happened numerous times. So, yeah, very, very good. Seems to be a lot better with recent long-haul flights I've done as well. So that's nice to see. I've not had a chance to do a good 6-hour flight like we used to a few months back. Sadly, real-life work getting in the way. Maybe we'll do something crazy. Maybe when we get to 20,000 subscribers. We did the line check for 15,000. Migs, welcome to the First Officers Club, Migs. Oh, now you've got to get yourself on our Discord, Migs, and join the fun. But Migs, you've been an amazing supporter, particularly this stream. So thank you once again. Really glad to have you on board, and I hope you're enjoying the flight. So now we're at the cruise. Let's have a look at how we're going to do our arrival, and we'll start planning. That. What I want to go ahead and do is we're just going to get some weathers, including a couple of en route weathers. So we can have a look at Barcelona as well, and I'm not sure what else we've got on route. Where else should we go for? Flying over Barcelona, obviously, as I say, which is about halfway between the two. We could also have a look at Toulouse, although realistically, I don't think, unless the others were terrible, we wouldn't be going there. Although, in fairness, we would probably be better off looking at Milan, just in case things have gone wrong around the south of France. Milan is also one of our alternates, so we'll send that off, see what comes through. One of the other things I'll send off as well, I don't know if there's any ATIS available, so we'll check that and send that off as well. We'll not print them, of course. Printing isn't good still. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Barry, hello mate. Hope you are well.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Thanks HD for moderating that. Okay, so if those messages have come through, Migs, I don't even like spam in a tin, let alone in a chat. Right, let me just check ATIS. There's nothing there, so I'm not expecting ATC online when we get there. So at the moment then, as we're coming in, wind is 100 at 9, so yeah, still favouring runway 04, that's fine. QNH 1017. Barcelona is fine as well, and shouldn't need it. but of course Milan also good. So still planning for runway 04 left. Let's see how we're going to fly this approach, shall we? Just before I do that, let me just pull up the charts for the ground. Uh, 04 left at 2,500 meters. Oh, 2,538. That's okay. So what we're aiming for is we want to be at flight level 120 at Tipic. So first thing we're going to do is get that in the prog page. And we're going to be at, well, in fact we're about to start descending. We're going to go down to flight level 340 in a minute. Although would you, HD, would you go down to 340? That's what the flight plan's telling us to do from Barcelona onwards. I'm not concerned because it's changing altitudes in terms of odds to even. I don't know why it's got us going down there at 340. Is there a particular reason that we can see on the chart with regards to those airways? That's Barcelona on the UN 870. I guess we'll do it anyway. It's not something. If it had been something daft, I probably would have been less likely to comply. But it just seems very random. Just drop 4,000 feet. But as I say, it's not something daft, so I'm happy to go with it. So let's head down. So let's set 340. Thrust idle, open descent. 340 blue. So, back again regarding our arrival. So, we got 22,000 feet to lose, times 3, 66 miles. However, we've got a nice tailwind as well of 71 knots at the minute. We have a tailwind throughout this flight. So flight level 120 here, mandatory, and a max speed of 250 knots. So we probably want to start that descent earlier than 66. I'd be happy to start that probably around 80 miles away. If we start that 80 miles away, that gives us a chance to get down and slow down. So once we're at Tipic, I want to be at 250 knots. From there then obviously we can go down, well, we can go down as low as 5,200 feet to the MUS NDB. Actually, that's a lie. It wants us above, oh, that's strange. So at MUS it wants us above flight level 80. HD, you can explain this for us. Why do we have a permission here of 5,200 feet, but we need to be above flight level 80? I'll let you chew over that one. And then we get vectors in. 5,200 is the lowest safe with respects to MSA, but not what you're cleared to. Fair enough. HD, is it the Alpha we're using? I'll admit to you, I'm slightly confused by our final approach here, because this is RMP Alpha 40405 final approach. No, I don't want the visual. I still think they want the Alpha approach. Okay, so if we have the Alpha approach, once we get to Mac November 04 Alpha, what's happening after this? Because what have I got in the box at that point? Get the 110 plate up. 1 second. Where is that? Where's the 110 plate? I've got 111. Oh, there we go. That's lost comms. Final approach 04 left. 111, which is ILS or localizer. Right. Okay. I'll let you add them, HD, and then come back. Either way, we know when we're starting the approach, which is probably in around about 100 miles. I think the thing with Nice is they don't like bringing you in straight on the ILS, so they give you the RNAV approach in, and then potentially you can pick up the ILS to come in and land. HD will confirm that for us. And it's all because they don't like the noise. So I'm just going to send off one final weather request, and then we'll get that on the approach page. Hang on, let me close my Navigraph down, HD, and then I will reopen that back up. There we go. So here's the initial approach, the star which we're doing. We've already briefed that what we're doing here. We can then go down to 8 flight level 80 at MUS, still a max speed of 250 knots. These speed restrictions here, actually, presumably that's just for the hold. And then from MUS we then would normally get radar vectors. That's not going to happen, obviously. So we can vector ourselves. Is MUS actually shown on here? No, it won't be, will it? So then what? We fly in Bisbo, the 04 Alpha again. And then from there, do they bring us in visually? Or do you pick up the ILS? They really don't like you going anywhere over the land, do they? Oh, this is different. All those times we just cheat and throw ourselves in on the ILS. So from MUS we go 090. Then when we're safe, it's inbound to Bisbo. Where's that gone? There we go. From Bisbo, then a left turn to 04 Alpha, Mike November 04 Alpha, and after that, it's a visual approach. I didn't sign up for a visual approach when I selected this flight. Oh, we're learning lots on this flight. And then there's 2 go-around procedures. So the first one is at 04 Alpha, for if we're not visual by that point. A right-hand turn, which takes us to Neres. And then obviously the missed approach if we're in and something goes wrong at 5 miles, max speed 220, a right hand turn to 110. HD, you told me 22 is more fun. I told you 04 I've got to think less. Neither's worked out very well. That high cloud's back, isn't it? Right, well we better set up this radnav then. So, MUS, don't need it. It's already on the flight plan. So MUS, Bisbo, the last couple of waypoints there, and that brings us in towards the Charlie Golf Sierra. We'll pop that in. And we need to be at 3,000 feet at Bisbo. Okay, very good. So let's run that again so we're all clear. And then I'm going back to the galley for a toilet break before we start this. So we're going to start our descent very soon actually. What are we? So in around about 50 miles. We're going to be flight level 120 at Tipek. We're going to be at 250 knots. From there we're going to continue our descent down to flight level 80 by the MUS initial approach fix. We'll leave MUS on a heading of 090. Once we're safe and clear of terrain, etc., we can then head to Bisbo. Max speed of 190 knots, and we need to be 3,000 feet by then. So no problem getting configured early for that. Once we are at Bisbo, then we continue all the way to Mike November 04 Alpha, inbound on the on the 174 radial. We can actually pop that in, can't we? That might help us. In fact, why put 174 when we can put 354? That would make more sense. There we go. .3,000 feet at Bisbo. We still need to be at 3,000 feet at 04 Alpha. We can then go down to the MDA at Mike November. And it does give us a descent angle of 3 degrees. So that's a good idea. Minimum descent altitude is 2,000 feet. So let's just get a few other things there. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet. Platform altitude is 3,000 feet. Minimum descent altitude 2,000 feet. And minimum safe altitude on this approach is 3,100 feet. That weather information should have just come through, so let's just get the uh, 1017 1108 knots, broken 500, few towering cumulus at 100, temporary scattered at 9,000 feet, towering cumulus. Elevation of the airfield is... where's that? Get the right chart up for that. Uh, 11. Missed approach 3,000 feet. Right, well, we'll be heading down in around 20 miles, just enough time to nip back to the galley. I'll be with you in a second. Okay, back with you. Let's have a look how far away we are. Yeah, time to start heading down. So I'm going to set that descent now to flight level 120. Thrust idle, open descent, 120 blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, you may have noticed that we've just begun our final descent into our destination. If you could now assist the cabin crew by tidying up your tray table and handing them any litter as they come around, that would be most appreciated. For safety reasons, we ask now that you please turn off all electronic devices or switch them to airplane mode until after we have landed. Please note that the
So what I'm doing as well, on the recommendation of HD, I am just popping that ILS in there. If we do have to do the ILS approach, then we'll be going direct to try and capture that at Lempu. The platform altitude for that, however, is 4,000 feet. So if ATC do come on, then we can be aware of that. We'll be going from the initial approach fix there of MUS to Lempu, and I'm just going to pin that one again just in case we need that. So for those of you that are following the stream and have done and flown into Nice many times, if you were doing this flight now without the assistance of the type rated A320 pilot HD, who I'm presuming has landed here several times in the real world, how many of you would have just plumbed in for the ILS regardless? Because it's fair to say I would have. I wouldn't have made life difficult in the sim. Other things to be aware of then is once we're on the ground, we vacate left, most likely onto the rapid exit taxiway of Echo Golf. Auto brake not required. So let's get that weather in. We've got the QNH 1017, winds 110 at 8, and the temperature is 25. That transit altitude again, 5,000 feet. And what was the MDA? It was, is it 2,000? Yeah. Which, visibility at the moment is in line with that, but a rain shower or something daft comes across. Another line check favourite. I can see why. Makes the in-game air traffic control is always very complimentary about the airport. Everything's nice. Well, we can see now we're on our way down. That's fine, and just keep an eye on the profile. 20,000 feet to lose, 6246. So we're actually just a little bit below that. Sorry, a little bit under that profile. I'm going to wrap that speed up so we get down, because we also need to slow down as well. If the minimums change for the ILS, then the minimums are missed approach climb gradient, which is important here because of the terrain at the end of the runway. Thankfully, this is normally worked out on your software, the airline software. I don't have access to that, but HD, I'm going to guess that we're absolutely fine in the 320 for a climb gradient of 4%. To be fair, even though we were slightly above the descent profile, that's line of sight, and we have got these added track miles as we're going around this curve. Do you think we can be on the ground in half an hour? HDB double that on 2 engines. Ah, that's good to know. Still no ATC. Had we gone to Geneva, there is ATC at Geneva. But never mind. Oh, I've pulled the nav button for some reason. Okay, let's start just slowing that down a little bit. We've got nicely underneath. How often would you get a direct to MUS HD? And that inbound runway heading is what is it, 042 degrees, isn't it? Oh, I need someone's. I need a shared cockpit. Mix, we made Fuerteventura work. That's okay. Right, yeah, we can slow that descent rate down nicely now. We're going to make that no issues. Lots of fluffy white clouds then today. Let's get the seatbelt signs on and run the landing checklist. So minimums are set, both sides. Engine mode select is normal. Electronic flight bag is stowed, and of course we've briefed the approach. If it was a shared cockpit HD, you just hear me saying you have control. Yeah, that's very true. What are we? 35 miles away from Tipic, which is great. Plenty of time to slow that aircraft down. We can see that on the display there. One thing I will also brief, if we have a go around coming in to land at the last minute, then it's toga, go around flaps, pitch up, get that positive rate of climb, gear up, and then it's a right hand turn. So we don't go into the rocks at the end of the runway. There is also another missed approach, go around. If we're not visual by Mike November 04 Alpha, right hand turn, and we'll enter the hold at Neres. I'll just put the aircraft in a hold, go collect my lad from school, come back and land it. Have we got enough fuel for that? And the FMA is on the go around, yes. Make sure we know as well when to set climb thrust and accelerator weight. It's also 185 knots as well on the go around. Which, just check the performance page. 185 knots is a max. We'll do that we'll do that in flaps 2. So before we go down to this through this next layer of cloud, we'll get the anti-ice on in a moment. Migs, is it a very nice Nice? It's not a bad Nice. There are a few towering cumulus, which I think you can almost see in the distance. Is 184 close enough? Fair enough, HD, we'll do that. Well, I'm hoping we won't do that. Right, start reducing speed. And as this is going to be quite busy in workload, let's arm that approach now. So we've activated the approach phase, that's done. Willie, good afternoon, sir. Hope you're well. Sadly, guys, looking at the time constraints, I've got about 22 minutes left. 22 minutes. So it really is going to be the fact that I'm going to have to touch this aircraft down, and then I'm going to have to let the FO taxi to the gate. Keith, your nice niece lives in Nice. Hey, I didn't know it was going to be this much of a workload, HD, when I set it up. I was plumping for an ILS. Let's bring that range in, shall we? Right, in about a minute to go, and we'll start slowing ourselves down and getting down to 8,000 feet. So, given that we do need to slow down as well, the max speed is 250 knots. I want to get her in because I don't want to be late, but at the same time, I'm thinking I want to reduce speed a little bit so we can get down to the platform in time. So let's reduce speed now. Let's go 230 knots, and we're going down now to 8,000. Oop. Not that far. There we go. Thrust idle, open descent, and 8,000. I've also set a VS speed there. 1,000 feet per minute. We can lose speed there and also continue on going down. Those clouds look ominous. HD, call the school and blame traffic. What traffic? They're not going to buy that. I want to be out of here at 3:10 local time, and he finishes at 3:15. You can guess how close I live to the school. I can probably make it there in about 2 minutes if I run. Actually, that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the amount of cars you have banding around. Gonna get those lights on. Thrust idle open descent. That'll get us down a bit quicker now. Okay, 10,000 feet. That PFD is a little bit bright, isn't it, in the dark cloud? So fly heading now of 090. I'm going to do that in track actually, given the wind that we've got. Now we've passed it, we should be safe actually as we head out over the sea. Let's get down to 3,000 feet. Aircraft's bouncing around, I can't select local pressure. 1017. So thrust idle, open descent, we're in track, 3,000 blue. And I want to start configuring. Actually, to be fair, we're still 20 miles away, so maybe not need to configure quite just yet. But what we can start doing is slowing the aircraft down a little bit. So I'm going to go green dot, and to make sure we don't miss that platform, just keep an eye on that, and I can use speed brakes just in case. Let's just keep that descent going down. And there we are at green dot. Now we're at green dot, we'll go back to thrust idle open descent. Warm enough to get rid of the ice. Yeah, because I'd pulled 90-degree track just because of the crosswind. That's why we're in FPA. Oh, thunder, how nice. So Bisborough is about 14 miles away, isn't it? So I'm happy now to go direct to Bisborough. Let's pop that in, and then we should go nav. I'm going to keep this set to track FPA as well. Max speed at Bisborough is 190 knots. Nice traffic Alpine 34 Alpha Mike is 10 miles from Bispo on the RMP arrival for runway 04 left. Not liking this cloud layer. We've just gone through the ILS and the low and the cloud slope. Just pulled the speed brakes out and we'll go flaps 1. Speed brakes still out. Flaps 2, speed checked. Flaps 2.
East traffic to there are 2-1 Charlie Golf pushing back to the south on gate 4 and the other traffic on gate 4 to move you are on my 10. Thank you.
So, we're just quite on the cloud layer. Now, I'm going to continue to help get configured by popping the landing gear down as well. So, I'll pull that landing gear, get all this configured as well. Let's continue the descent down to 2000. Thrust idle open descent 2000 blue. Speed brakes still out.
Takeoff.
HD, sorry, we had to be 3000 at Biswell, we had to hold that until FN04 Alpha, didn't we?
J'ai dit qu'elle avait l'air d'être bien confiante.
Speed brakes now back in.
Hundred above. Minimum.
So we're visual with the field, 2000 feet, and at 04 Alpha, that's when we want to pull that 3-degree flight path angle. We'll go to track, landing gears down. Let me just ding the cabin and arm those spoilers. Nice traffic, Alpine 34 Alpha Mike is 8 miles inbound, runway 04 left.
New traffic through there, 2-1 Charlie Golf, taxiing holding point Charlie 1, runway 04 left.
So we're now flying the track of 354, 3 degrees, flight path angle. Flaps 3. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin secured. Auto thrust speed. Go around altitude is 4,000 feet. Set. ECAM memo. Landing no blue. Autopilot disengaged. I have control. Visual. And remember, it's 04 left that we're landing on, not 04 right. Flight directors off.
Romeo Quebec 303, porte 44, m'apprête à repousser face au sud.
Just flown through that a little bit. It was hidden by the centre bezel. But we've got time to get that back on track. Let's just get that centre line back in. Approach stable. We've got one red. That's back on track. Just fighting that centre line a little bit. And spoilers deployed, reversers on. Traffic. We'll wait here. Now let's get off the runway, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign.
Oh well, if he's not there, let's get out of the way.
For messaging, calls, or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat, and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers.
Nice traffic, Alpine 34 Alpha Mike, runway 04 left, vacated. So given the time constraints I am under, I'm afraid I am plonking for the first available parking stand, but let's just configure up a little bit.
Check out our official Facebook page, Twitter, or Easyjet app.
Stephen Centre. Oh, good lord! Hang on. How come he's come back? Well, that's spooky. It was a ghost aircraft that reappeared. I don't know where he is. I don't really care. So we'll go for the is it gate 148 that I'm looking at now? Are the kids on holiday still in France?
2-1 trying to go, flying off Quebec 3, 104 right and taking off.
Oh, and look at that. It's 15:07 here. I'm going to be on time to get the kid. Oh, so I'm going to start saying my thank yous now. Big thank you to everyone who has watched the flight. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Huge thanks as well to HD for guiding us through an approach which I don't think many of us would have done had we been left to our our own devices. So that was that's new, that's different. I'm kind of happy and wondering about doing that again in the future. Now we've done it once, we'll have to do it again. A huge thanks to those of you that have donated and contributed to the channel's upkeep during the stream today. Really do appreciate that, and a special shout out to Migs as well, who has not only donated and contributed but also become a channel member today. So a big thanks to Migs as well. Look forward to seeing you again a little bit later on. HD, even you're knackered and this is your day off. I've got to shoot, guys, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I shall see you all again very soon. Bye bye.